Hey everybody, welcome to Rants. I'm your host Ryan Shed, and I have an outstanding guest for you today, and that is Jess, also known as the Big Weird Mom on TikTok. Thank you for being here, Jess.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Especially with so much you've had going on lately.
Yeah, I'm happy to take a break from the dumpster fire.
Yeah, you
Talk
locked the
about more
children in the
dumpster fire.
basement. You
Yep.
know, we threw them some cookies and iPads, so they should be good for the next hour or so.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm actually surprised I'm not like locked in a closet somewhere, to be honest with you.
well, you're over there hugging the router, which I can appreciate because I'm doing the same thing over here. But going into, before we get to the fun questions, and you do have your cocktail, which, by the way, anybody that's coming to as a guest next, cocktails are not mandatory, but definitely welcomed. So go ahead and bring them when you're on the show.
Cocktails or mocktails.
Yeah, there you go. But I wanted to go into March being Colon Cancer Awareness Month on top of being Women's History Month. It's close to my heart for my personal reasons, but it's also become close to your heart in the last few weeks because of things that the Big Weird Dad's been going through.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I wanted to talk about mine real quick because we're going into March 22nd is Lynch Syndrome Awareness Day. And that's what I actually have, and is the ultimate reason why I end up having to have my colon taken out. I'm not going to go into all of it, but so I had to have that done a few years ago laparoscopically, and Jess didn't know that right off the bat before when all this started going off. But through texting, I ended up telling her, well, hey, I've actually had kind of similar stuff done, so I've gotten to hear a lot of what has happened the last few weeks. So I wanted to have you on because I thought it was a good segue to both talk about what I have and what I've gone through, but also what you've gone through, because I think it's important to bring awareness to make sure that you're advocating for your own health.
Yeah.
Is that a fair statement, you think?
Yeah. We have gotten an up close and personal look at Rod's colon in the last couple of weeks, and yeah, it's knowing what to look for and knowing what the warning signs are for all of that is so important. We spent the week basically in and out of the emergency room, and had it been addressed earlier, it would have saved a lot of stress and heartache. So yeah. Awareness is the first step, obviously.
So now how did it start? Because mine, of course, started, I had cancerous polyps, but that's not how this all started for Rod. What did he go in for originally?
Right. So my husband is a golf pro. He's not currently working. He's in the Northern California PGA, but he's been mostly just playing at this point and shoveling snow and raising kids. And he was out at the club a couple months ago, and he was at the driving range, and he started to get some pain in his groin when he was swinging, and the pain wasn't very bad, but he went to the doctor anyway, and they did a scan and found a small hernia in his groin, and his doctor, was a general surgeon, said, let's if you want to, we're going to do surgery now. We're going to it's easy, and we figured since we have good insurance, we might as well just get it taken care of. She said if you do it, she said you can push it off for years if it's not causing you a ton of pain, but if you get it earlier, it tends to be a quicker, easier recovery. And so we decided, hey, this is the best insurance we've had, so we might as well just get it taken care of. So this was 4 weeks ago. Yesterday, he went in for his hernia surgery.
And 4 weeks already?
Jeez. Yeah. And that night, he was having trouble urinating, which we thought was just because, when your body's waking up from surgery and when you're on a bunch of pain medication, sometimes all of that it doesn't wake up right away, and your brain has trouble communicating. So we took him into the emergency room, and they gave him a catheter and sent him home. And then that night he started having these really weird hiccups, And I remember I texted you about it, and you said you had said after one of your surgery you had that, and I actually put it on to TikTok, and it was supposedly like a normal thing that people go through after surgery. And then I think it was the next day he made an appointment to go back in to get the catheter removed, and something just seemed off. These hiccups kept happening, and they were really painful for him. And he told his doctor, look, there's something going on. Something doesn't feel right to me. At that point, his heart rate was really high. It was like 120 or something crazy. And he's a tough guy. We're definitely
all tough until we get to the doctor.
Yeah. And at this point, I feel guilty because looking back, I remember even texting you about this and saying like, my husband's a baby. Like I had
and what did I say? I said, yep, I was too.
All our babies. Yeah. I said, my first, I had a C-section with my first, and that turned my body into a literal pest dispenser. And I was up walking to the NICU 10 hours later. So I was like this guy had a tiny little hernia surgery, like just not able to function. And the doctor,
like, what? Like, come on, man, suck it up.
Yeah, I was like, come on, like, let's get it together. Like, you're gonna be okay. And I feel kind of bad about that now. But
what did you say? I think you said something. This is a weird way to get out of
snow
removal. Yeah.
The first thing
and then the next night.
And then the next night it was the same thing, and we just kept going back to the doctor, going back to the emergency room, and they just kept sending him home. And we somehow, I'm really thankful that we pulled this off, but we made it down to Roseville, which is like 2 hours away from us, to get our vaccine. And so somehow through all of this madness, we have managed to get both of us vaccinated, which has been a big sigh of relief. But anyways, so fast forward to Saturday. So he had surgery on Monday, and then the following Saturday, he was just like, he was starting to act a little weird. And then like, something was really off, and these hiccups were just terrible. He started to throw up, and these are kind of the warning signs of something, a bad infection. Yeah. We went into the urgent care, and after this experience, I'll say you only need to go to urgent care if you like have an ear infection and need to be seen right now. Like if you have anything more major than that, you need to go to the emergency room, which is what we should have done. He was in rough shape, and they sent him home. And that night was when he became septic, and he was like borderline delusional. So what had happened, which we found out later, was during the hernia surgery, they don't know exactly what happened, but they're thinking that one of the tools that they used to cauterize while they were sewing him up was like arced through his appendectomy scar and somehow cut a hole in his intestine, his large intestine. And so he had just been like basically leaking all of the good stuff in your intestines out into his body, and he had become septic. And at that point, he was not in good shape. And in the middle of the night, and I haven't really told anybody this, but I was like trying to.
You don't want to.
No, it's funny. It's like,
okay.
I kept the kids in their room to kind of keep them away from him. So we were just totally sectioned off from them. And I woke up to a text saying, I'm going to the emergency room. He drove himself to the emergency room while he was like septic and like delusional. And like his body just went into like fight or flight mode. And he was just like really clear. Like he was just like, we just need to do this. I need to get in the car. It's going to take forever to get the kids in the car. So we just need to get there as soon as possible. Thank goodness I didn't know that until he was actually there, because I would have had a heart attack.
I would have tackled you on your way to the car. Yeah.
And So he gets into the emergency room, and, thankfully, the people at the ER, got him right in and, figured out that this was going on. And he went under to the surgery to fix it was like 7 hours, I think.
Yeah.
And he very nearly went into a coma. And I was sitting here.
Because that second surgery, it wasn't supposed to be that long, was it?
Yeah, I mean, they called me and said, we're going to go in and kind of explore and see what's going on, because they couldn't see. They thought he might have had an abscess. They couldn't really see in the CT scan what was happening. So it was supposed to be laparoscopic. And then they got in and saw that it was a major, major issue. And he has like a 9-inch incision on his stomach now.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
They had to use, I think it was like 10 or 11 liters of water to just flush everything out. And then he was on IV antibiotics in the ICU for 6 days. And then 2 days later came home. So last week finally came home, and he's settled and he's got his pain under control, and he's doing much better now. Yeah.
I'm glad.
Scary.
It was, and even I think there was a point where even I felt kind of bad, because he shifted from what was normal for me, and I was like, oh, that, like, there was a point where I was like, that actually doesn't sound right, but I'm not sure. And I didn't want to panic you. And then you call, and then you text me the next day, you're like, oh, he's back. And I was like, fuck, like that wasn't what I was hoping for. But I'm glad that Big Weird Dad is doing much better now. The moral of this story too, like I said, to tie it into colon cancer awareness month, is, we know our bodies. You know your body. If something feels off, go get checked. And if you do have to go in, don't hesitate to advocate for your own health. Don't assume that the doctor knows best for you. Yep. I'm not saying go in there with your Google out and, questioning what you say, but, there comes a point, I think, where, and correct, tell me if this is how you felt, Jess, but I think there comes a point where, something just wasn't right between the reaction or the response from the medical team and how it all ended up going down.
Yeah.
And there's that moment, I think, where, like, you look back and you're like, man, I wish I would have stood up and advocated right there.
Definitely. And I think also, like, especially in a marriage, like, I wish that I had pushed him to go to the ER rather than the urgent care. And, statistically, married men live longer than a single man, because we know our husbands, by pushing and advocating, like, you literally are going to keep your husband alive. So,
and you know what? And I will tell the truth. The reason that I got my colon, that I went and got my checkup done, was because my wife was nagging me, and I was actually, I think it had been close to 2 years. And I'm supposed to get it done every 12 months, every 12 months. And it had been close to 2 years, and we were moving, I just got lost in the shuffle. And honestly, when you know that every time you're going to go to the doctor and there's this potential for this impending doom, you really don't want to go get it done anyway. But so she pushed me. She's like, you need to go get it done. And then when the results came back, it was pretty simple. We sent the results to my sister-in-law, who in turn showed them to who would end up being my surgeon. And the way that they would put it to me was, like, they called me 2 days after I sent them down, and they're like, well, if you want to see your kids graduate from high school, you're going to get your colon taken out. And soon.
Oh, geez.
And it was like, okay. And I flew down. So we were in Utah at the time, and I flew down here to Tucson, did my pre-op and everything, flew back up to Utah. And then we came down here. My wife and I drove down here. And I ended up recouping down here and everything. And then I loved it so much when I was down here that we ended up moving down here months later. But it's crazy how things can take a turn real quick. And it's always, it's usually our lovely, amazing spouses who step in to say, stop being an idiot and go get checked.
Yeah. And also, COVID is really a component of that. I feel like if I had been at his bedside for all of this, I would have pushed, and Rod didn't grow up in a medical family like I did. You know, my mom ran the hospice department for Kaiser and was always involved in home health and hospice. And her wife is an ER nurse. So, you know, I feel like I have a much better feel for things and, you know, what's, you know, when it's best to go to the doctor and when you do need to suck it up. And you know, there was a point, I think, midweek where I was like, okay, like what I'm seeing at home, and this is the same thing with the women, for men too, is, you know, a man will sit and complain and be on death's door at home. And when you drop him off at the hospital, I distinctly remember this.
We suck it up and straighten up.
Yeah, putting him into a wheelchair and letting the ER staff, you know, wheel him in, where, you know, I was shutting the door and I hear him say, "Hey, how's everyone doing today? Like, I'm so happy."
Yep.
I'm like, okay, but that's not how you feel. So you need to tell them that.
You know, that's 100% how I am, you know. I think for me, I don't know if it's the same for your husband, but it's like not a defense mechanism, but like I'm scared shitless of what's about to happen, you know, or what could happen. I hate being in the hospital, so I'm going to joke around with everybody I see. And also because I don't, and this is the God honest truth, because I don't want to be that patient that all the nurses walk away from and go, I freaking hate him. I figure if they're always like, oh, I love him, he's always joking around, whatever, you know, and you know, I always got treated pretty well by everybody, the doctors and the nurses, because I wasn't that grouchy, you know, whatever. But and in return, a good doctor knows if they have a patient that, like, when I said this doesn't feel right, and I ended up having to be ambulance back up to Tucson, like they knew that, oh, if he's saying that something's wrong, you know, versus if you're always complaining, then it's like, he's complaining again.
Yeah,
you know?
Definitely. Yeah. And the surgeon that we have had through all of this has just been amazing. And she sat down with both of us and apologized. And she was like, both of you told me something was wrong. And, you know, and we should have delved deeper into that. And I apologize. You know, it's like,
at least they apologized. I mean, you know, because here's the thing. I try not to paste, you know, all medical people as like demons or whatever. You know, it's practicing medicine. They call it that for a reason. Shit happens. You know, it happened with my dad. They put the wrong catheter in him, you know, weeks before he died. It's like, but you know, what are you going to do? Shit happens.
Right.
You know, it's at the end of the day, we were still able to, you know, drain fluid off and do what it was supposed to be done, just not as easy as it would have been if they put the right thing in. So, and I literally asked my dad, I said, "What do you want me to do about it?" He goes, "What?" He goes, "You're going to sue him?" He's like, "For what?" You know, he's like, "It's done." You know, and that's literally the attitude he had. He's like, "It's done, whatever." And so I try not to paste everybody the same. I try to give a little grace because I have healthcare workers in my family too. And so I hear stories about how, you know, it's like you're doing a spreadsheet. Imagine doing a spreadsheet and you miss a number. And that number fucks up the spreadsheet. Right. You know, but being a doctor, it's a little more detrimental than a spreadsheet.
Totally. Right? Totally. Yeah. And I've been grateful for our surgeon, because most of the surgeons that I've dealt with in my life and met, you know, they say the mark of a good surgeon is when they are really cold and when they don't have that bedside manner and when they are like more clinical. And, you know, because you have to have a little bit of like a psychopathic gene in your brain or whatever to
it takes an ego to cut somebody open and think you can say that takes an ego. Definitely. but I mean, and I've heard that same saying. So, you know, I've heard the exact same thing. But I guess I've been pretty blessed because I've had several procedures, unfortunately. And my back surgeon, he was pretty clinical, but he at least had a sense of humor. Like he was joking with me before he went back. And the woman who did my Dr. Schlender here in Tucson, who did my colon surgery, she was awesome. Like but she had a reputation with the nurses for being no bullshit. Like the nurses would be like, make sure you get her shit right because she'll come in here and tear. But when she came in and talked to the patients, she had that bedside manner,
Yeah.
but you could tell she was somebody that didn't take any bullshit either,
Yeah.
And like you said, I want the surgeon with the ego. I want the surgeon that knows they're going to cut me open and fix me and know that they're going to save my life. Yeah, give me that guy or woman. Yeah.
So where are you with your recovery? Did you want to share some of your story?
Yeah, because I really don't talk about it that much. I've started talking about it more lately. So they took my colon out in 2019, and the recovery really wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I mean, it sucked, but I had it built up in my head to be a lot worse than it ended up being. Which again, my wife told me, she goes, "It's not going to be as bad as you think it is," and she was right. But as far as my recovery now, I need to go get checked. I'm probably overdue again for my checkup, but it's because of COVID. I don't want to go into the doctor because of COVID. So, but now I've gotten to the point now where I have to go. I'm like probably a good 9 months overdue. So don't be like me. Don't wait. But yeah, and so now I have to get, even though I don't have a colon, they didn't give me a bag. So my small intestine is basically connected to my butt, and there's no large colon anymore. So it makes me go to the bathroom a lot more. Like I go to the bathroom probably anywhere from 5 to 10 times a day, and if I'm sick, don't expect to see me because I'm not going anywhere. I need to be within 10 to 15 feet of a toilet for the remainder of the day. Which, I mean, it's funny because that's why I've built this. It's kind of why I started doing this, because I was a mechanic. I was an aircraft mechanic, but I had the back surgeries and I couldn't really keep doing what I was doing. And then I had to have this surgery, and it's like, well, shit, now I have to transition, my entire career and shift into something else. And that was why I started focusing on politics. It was like, okay, there were things that happened along the way that I felt hurt me much, more than they should have. Like there were programs that should have been in place to help me, unemployment, Social Security. Like I got turned down for all that stuff. Wow. And even my VA disability that I get now, it took me 5 years to get it.
Oh my gosh.
And 3 appeals. And it was ridiculous. So all this is going on and my whole life's falling apart, and all this medical stuff's happening. And I didn't want to see it happen to other people the way it happened to me. And I'm very fortunate because at the end of the tunnel, I had the VA stepped in at the end, and now I'm okay, financially and everything. Yeah. But I wasn't, and not and majority of people aren't going to have the same safety net that I did, because I served. Right. They're not going to have that. And so it really made me focus on how to take my trauma, I'm going to call it a trauma, but how to take all this trauma and medical issues and shift my career into something else so that I can still focus on my recovery. Because I unfortunately, with Lynch syndrome, it can cause not just colon cancer, but it can cause stomach cancer. It can cause kidney cancer. Your predisposition for all these cancers. And so for me, I knew that, which was why I was getting checked. I got my colon taken out, but now I still have to go get an endoscopy, which is where they put you in like Twilight and they stick the camera down your throat, in your stomach. So, and they check my esophagus, my stomach, and everything. So, I still have to go get looked at all the time, and it's still an issue. It can still be an issue with my insurance because I'm 39 years old, and they're looking at like, why do you have to get an endoscopy every year? Why do you have to get this ultrasound done every 6 months? Yeah. Like, and then I have good coverage because again, my wife being in the military, but not everybody has that coverage. And a lot of healthcare providers would be like, well, we're not going to cover you, and again, so I just took my recovery and everything, and I'm trying to channel it into something better. But yeah, it'll always be ongoing for me. But I kind of got off better than Big Weird Dad because I had small incisions. They did it laparoscopically. They didn't have to open me up. But had I had complications similar to him, then they would have had to cut me open the same way they did him. So, I feel for him because that is a tougher recovery for sure.
Yeah.
But that being said, I also wanted to point out the fact that I think you're super mom, because while you were handling all of that, because you have 2 kids, you had your husband in the ICU, and you were trying to go there as much as you could and take care of the kids, and while you're doing all of that, you were also sending out all of my initial merch orders online.
And mine too.
And yours too. So, thank you for being awesome. Those who don't know, she's actually going to end up being my first sponsor, and Jess handles all of my merch fulfillment and everything. So she's building an awesome business, and I'm really happy and honored to be a part of the foundation of it. So thank you.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that you're happy, because it's been crazy, and it has not been a start that I anticipated. That's for sure.
I know, but I knew what I was getting into, and yeah. But again, having the empathy of I've been there,
Right.
like in a different way, but I just, I'm not gonna bail on you because some shit happens. Okay, so now let's get into the fun stuff. Have a drink, take a sip. We're gonna get into the fun stuff. Let me see if there's any good comments here. We got Nikki's in here, Tones, Tracy, my brother. Hey, Pat. Okay, so what is something interesting about yourself that most of us don't know?
Oh man. Actually, I don't know if I've talked about this a whole lot, but I am well, I don't know. I guess I have. Have I talked about my Ironman stuff and my soccer stuff? So I
don't know about it, so go ahead.
Before I was a mom, I was kind of an obsessive exerciser. I grew up playing soccer. I was actually on the Olympic development team for soccer. And then when I was going into college, I hurt my knee and I lost a scholarship, and it was a nightmare. But because of that, because of my knee injury, I started getting into running and distance sports. And because, with soccer, the pivoting was just a little too much for my knee. So got into doing triathlons. So I've done 3 Ironmans and a 50K. So an Ironman is a 2-mile swim, 112-mile bike ride, and then a full marathon. So I guess that's a little fun fact that not a whole lot of people know.
You're better than me. I'd probably get about 300 yards into the swim and be like, it's time to turn back now.
I actually did my third Ironman was the Tempe, Arizona Ironman.
Who is your favorite soccer team from Tones 84?
Oh, I gotta go with the women's national team. I was just like, I idolized Mia Hamm and Brandy Chastain growing up, and I always have a soft spot for those ladies.
Even I did. I mean, that team was amazing. That was a good pick. So send in your questions, everybody that's here. Not just my questions. So what was your original intention with joining TikTok? Because I know you ended up going to you're the Parler martyr, which I know I appreciate, so that I don't have to read it. And then you do the dumpster fire. What is it?
Mom group dumpster fires.
Mom group dumpster fires. So was that your original intent when you joined?
I joined like the beginning of the pandemic, and I was mostly just commenting and looking for good content. And I would occasionally give commentary on, things that I felt. And, it was kind of a fluke. My very first kind of viral, I guess, video was this super, super crazy lady who I'm sure is on Parler. Said that everyone who voted for Biden should be put on a island somewhere to rot and die or something. And I stitched that, and it got like 10,000 views. And that kind of just started the momentum. And I think like a week later, I saw this random post on Facebook that was a screenshot of a Parler post. And I got on and read it, and that just like took off. And so really, like, I didn't try to do much content before Parler Martyr. And then right after, I think it was like less than a week after I did that first Parler post, I did the first Peloton mom post, which was kind of, so they kind of have been parallel to each other.
Yeah.
But, and then Nugget Talk happened, which was, those are the moms. I say this all the time, but the mom group people are crazier than the Parler people, 100%.
Really?
I mean, like, that's the only place that I've ever like been threatened to be doxxed or, you know, had people like legitimately try to come at me is with the mom groups.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. That's why I don't join the dad groups. I can only imagine what the toxic masculinity is in there.
Literally the only thing that happens in dad groups is people come in and say, my wife made me join this. What are we going to talk about?
That's probably why I'm not in one. Holy shit. So you ended up on TikTok. You tripped and fell into Parler Martyr and everything. Did you ever imagine that you would build a podcast, your own podcast off of that?
Definitely not. I mean, like, I've always kind of thought in my mind, like, it'd be fun to have a podcast, but yeah.
What am I gonna do one on though? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's every day it shocks me that I wake up and I look at that number. Like, I just don't even know how it happened. But
I think it was your account that says somebody gave me all these followers or something like that. I always like that
my
one.
Instagram.
Yeah, I like that one. Okay, what did somebody say in here? Do you comment on Parler or in that group?
I comment in the mom groups, not so much lately, because there are several people who do know who I am in Facebook, and Facebook is kind of the one place where I try to keep my account really locked down because I've got pictures of my kids, and obviously it's been 10 years since I started my Facebook account. So I do comment on Facebook. I have only commented on Parler once when I was kind of trying to do I was trying to dick roll people by like posting an article that was like clickbait article that would go to a dick pic. Anyways.
This is why we're friends. This is why we're friends.
It didn't really work. A couple people posted it like for real, and then I was like, okay, we got to take this down because I don't want to like contribute to the problem.
Yeah. Like, didn't see that twist coming.
Yeah. And then at one point, I think before the insurrection, I was like kind of trying to like get some information out of people to send to the FBI. Or I was like, where are you meeting? Like, where I want to go. Like, where
I remember that. Yeah. I remember those. In the bet, didn't you get a couple of them? Didn't you get a couple of people that actually told you?
Yeah, one lady, the lady who was trying to illegally obtain medical supplies, she was like, yeah, but I'll tell you where we're gonna meet, but like I need your phone number and your full name, and like I need to vet you for. And I was like, okay, bye.
Click. That's been fun.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't think about that when I asked that. Here's a good one. What is your one go-to song when you just need to get shit done?
Oh my gosh.
Not artist, song.
Yeah. Get shit done. I don't know. It's funny. I listen to music, and I've been listening to a lot of like Dr. John lately, because the kids really like the piano, and like if I want to get the kids kind of out of my hair, like I'll put like Mess Around on, and they'll dance in the living room, and it's all about like getting the energy changed in the house. And yeah, I like a lot of jazz and fun upbeat stuff. My kids are super into that, so it's been fun. That's one of my the things that I didn't expect becoming a parent, is like sharing music.
Yeah, I will say that's something that I love, and I listen to a lot of Queen. So we were driving the other day, and Livy's behind me in the car, and we're just jamming out, and she's singing to "Don't Stop Me Now," and I'm sitting in the front like, "Sing it, baby, sing it!" Like, yeah, it was totally awesome. So when I said get stuff done, I meant like pump you up to get stuff done, not distract your children so that you. I love how you were like, yeah, I put that on so that they can go over there and shut up, and so that I can.
No, Dr. John's good though. I mean, I'll listen to it without the kids. It is what it is. I have, I'm like all over the map with music, and I feel like when I always need like something going into my brain holes, like I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I just try to like absorb a lot of information. Like music to me is just kind of like an ambient thing.
White noise almost. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Damn, I was going to ask you another question based off that, and then I forgot. I seem to be doing that. I did that a lot last night. It was horrible. Okay, here's a little more serious one. If you could only focus on one issue, be it political, human rights, whatever, what would it be? Like
definitely
if you could focus on a platform. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say LGBTQ rights. I mean, it's such a huge part of who I am. I have two moms, and I'm by myself, and I think it has just been like something that I have fought for. I remember when I was like 4 or 5 years old, going to the gay pride parade, and wanting to buy, like, I saw this Queer Spawn t-shirt. I remember as a kid like begging my mom to buy this for me, and they didn't have a shirt in my size. It was I was too young, and like I was just so passionate about that from such a young age, and it's just such a huge part of me and my family. So definitely
That's
gay
awesome.
rights.
And I don't think I was I was not a good advocate for the LGBTQ community, but not because I didn't want to be, but because I don't think I was educated enough. I think I was very ignorant to the community as a whole. And I think I still am in some ways. There's a lot to learn there. And and I don't want to discredit and say, oh, I've got it. I don't, but I'm starting, I'm realizing that gap in my knowledge, and I'm trying to fix it. But even talking with you about your moms and stuff, and a little, the stories that you talk about, and it's very eye-opening. And I look back at my history. I have so many people in my life going back to high school, that I didn't know they were gay in high school. We had no freaking clue. But as we've gotten older, it's like, oh shit, I got my friend Rob, he's gay, I've got my friend Kevin, he's gay. It's like, well, fuck, I was surrounded by a lot of gay people I didn't even know.
Well, if it makes you feel better,
they're some of the best people.
Yeah, totally. And if it makes you feel better, I have the same experiences. I think a lot of gay men, especially in high school, would gravitate towards me because they were like, yeah, she's got gay parents. She's cool. Like she's, we can be friends with her. And there are literally like 4 or 5 guys who have come out since high school. They didn't come out to me, where I was like, man, we were best friends. Like what?
Yeah. Like, I'm cool with that. Yeah. Yeah. I had one friend, Demetrius. He came out to me in high school. Like we were sophomores when he came out to me. He's not with us anymore. But yeah, he was the only one that came out. Like he knew, and we all kind of. But he was one of those dudes that like you knew, like we all kind of knew. But
yeah.
But he knew too. Like he was very open about it, you know. But he was also one of the first to. It's probably why I'm a little cool about it, because when he talked to me about it, you know, I'm being the ignorant, you know, 15, 16-year-old that I was like, well, you know, you're not hitting on me, right? And he was like, no. He's, you know, and I was like, okay, well, if you're just telling me to tell me, that's cool, you know. And then after that, it was, you know, but that initial like response of what's going on here, you know, definitely happened as a teenager. But man, once we got into it, and he just started being open with me, because he couldn't be open with very many other people. Like it was me, my friend John, him, and a few other people. That was it. So that I just didn't realize how many more people in my life were a part of that community. And I'm glad that, you know, I've said some, you know, of course when we were growing up in the 90s, you said things like fag and things like that, you know, and we threw those words around, you know, very callously. We know now that it's not cool to do that. So of course, you know, I use those words and stuff like that, but I never like went at somebody because I thought they were gay and tried to like, you know, make them feel bad about it. I think I've always been pretty accepting of whoever. And I'm glad, because I don't have to look back and feel bad, you know, for bullying and chastising anybody, you know, in that community, thankfully.
Yeah.
I think that's an awesome thing to focus on. You know, for me, I think it would be the Black Lives Matter, you know, but just you know, racial injustice, things like that. That's of course going to probably be my primary focus, just because of my kids, you know.
Of course.
The other reason I'm getting into this is to, you know, hopefully make the system better for them, so that they don't get caught up in some ridiculous stuff. Yeah. So that's probably my main focus. So you know, it's always interesting to me to see what everybody's is and why. You know, I kind of guessed yours, but okay. Which creator's page do you go to when you need a good laugh?
Oh, geez. You know, one of the first people who I followed on TikTok was Selena Spooky Boo, who I don't know her. Like I feel like I'm close friends with 90% of the people who I like follow and you know will seek out, but you know, she's got 5 million followers. Obviously, she has no idea who I am, but she is so freaking funny. Have you seen any of her sleepwalking videos?
I don't think so.
She set up she set up these cameras in her house to record her when she's sleepwalking, and it is the funniest thing. And like, her poor husband is the most patient person in the world. He just watches and kind of interacts with her, and like I'm sure that he encourages her to do crazy things, but it's freaking hilarious. And just her way of like looking at the world, she has got like it's very wholesome content. It's just like she's got this Halloween costume that is the wacky waving arm inflatable tube man. And she just like runs around and harasses people in it. What's Selena Spooky Boo? So I think it's CELI.
Is it?
Let me look it.
Okay. She's going to look that up.
Yeah.
Let's see. Can I ask you? Can you multitask?
I can, yeah. So, I got it already.
You're like, I have children. Of course I can multitask.
Selena, CELINA, Spooky Boo. Can you see it? No, it's backwards.
Is it backwards?
No, it's not.
At least they can. Yeah, no, it's not, and they can see the picture.
Oh my gosh, she's got 14 million followers now.
Wow. And I struggle to get like 10 a day.
Oh my God, I'm losing followers. I'm like hemorrhaging followers.
I love the creator fun.
Yeah. I have never been in the creator fund,
Oh,
but TikTok is just removing them from my page because I am so shadow banned to the point where like I don't even really put serious content on my main anymore. I'm just trying to grow my backup account because I'm so shadow banned.
I should start doing that. But honestly, I've been focusing on the podcast because I just always felt like TikTok can disappear tomorrow. It probably won't. But if it does, okay, all that energy and everything goes out with it. But you can't take my podcast away. Like you can't take this platform that I'm building. Right. So I'm just trying to shift. If anything, I'm trying to shift the followers from there over to all the Instagram and Twitter and the YouTube channels, because I don't know how stable TikTok's going to be in the near future.
Yeah, I'm thankful for it because I think that it definitely like translates my sense of humor better than other apps. But on the other side of things, I'm definitely pushing people towards my Instagram. TikTok is great, but I do think that they're kind of taking the wrong side on things. They're allowing.
Prime example. I don't know if Nikki's still in here, but she put a video up this morning of Ashley Babbitt. People are calling for justice for Ashley and comparing it. They said, "Oh, but that won't happen because she's not Black." Like, first off, holy crap! Like, you're literally comparing the Black Lives Matter movement to a domestic terrorist getting shot.
They all are. They all use the "say her name" hashtag. It makes me so angry.
Yeah, so she posted that and she didn't say anything. I didn't think she said anything crazy. They didn't even post it. They just automatically gave her a guideline violation. So I took the source video that she had used, the dude's original video. I took it, did a video, and I made sure that I didn't cuss. And I made sure that it was on point. They never even posted it. Mm-hmm. So I took it down, and I reloaded it back up, and I didn't put any hashtags. I didn't type anything in, and they let it go. So that one's up, but it's not doing very well. It's like 400, 500.
Yeah. I had a video for almost 8 hours was under review yesterday. It's crazy.
Like you said, I really do think they're taking the wrong side. I mean, this is something that's going on, and you won't let people you won't let us use a rebuttal at all.
It's harassment.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So, okay, let's go on the last couple questions and we're going to wrap it up. Were you into politics before this all happened?
Yes. I mean, my husband teases me because, when Trump was elected, I was like probably 4 weeks pregnant. And I kind of felt like both of my pregnancies, which I've talked a lot about as well, were extremely hard. I had hyperemesis for both of them, which is basically extreme morning sickness, which I lost 30 pounds with my son. I thankfully was able to get better care for my second pregnancy, and I only lost 20 pounds with my daughter. But I was in the cancer center getting infusions twice a week. And, I didn't want to add stress to my life. So I completely stopped paying attention to politics until the last year of Trump's presidency, and then getting into TikTok kind of reignited my passion for it. But before that I was, and I kind of regret not exploring it more, because I think, political science and everything would have been a better direction for me with my education than I ended up getting a biology degree that I'm not using at all.
I feel the same way.
I've always been really interested in it and kind of regret not getting into it sooner. But but now, I feel like, and in college, I was really active with going to, with activism and going to protests and everything. So, because I was into like conservation biology and I was really passionate about the environment and green energy and all that good stuff. So
Yeah, and I feel the same way you do. I wish I would have realized my passion for politics a lot earlier so that I could have gotten my education in it instead of thinking that I was going to be, some aircraft engineer and, but it's that I really am passionate about it, but I'm passionate about building a platform on how to better disseminate it too. Like TikTok got me to realize how important getting our voices heard online is. Like I can go travel around Tucson and hit every business for the next 6 months, and just pound the concrete, which I'm going to probably have to do anyway. Or I can have a platform on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok and here where I can say something and reach 3 million people in a matter of 2 days.
Right.
So it took, once I started figuring out the analytics and seeing, where everything was, it's like, oh, okay, now I'm seeing what I need to do. And I wish I had the educational background that you're talking about to build the foundation on. So I feel like I'm doing like homework I should have done a long time ago.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the last question. And I think it's important because we're going to be working together a lot. So where do you see your personal brand in the next year?
Oh man, I was thinking about this. It's interesting, while Parler was taking a break, I was sitting here thinking to myself, like, yeah, like I am really grateful that Parler is not in existence, but like, I kind of wish that it was, I kind of feel like we need to have this, this guaranteed spot where we know where all these people are who are dangerous and who are spreading misinformation. And, that is really, really where I want to focus everything on, is exposing this group of people, who are doing these horrible things. I think this podcast that we just started, which is called Rabbit Hole Heroines, and hopefully we're going to be back on track this week after all of the craziness. We've taken a little bit of a break, but I want to really focus on that and delving into the rabbit holes that you can go down. And I think that there really is no limit to what we can explore with that. There's rabbit holes everywhere, and I'm super passionate about a lot of things that I haven't really touched on my page. And I really hope to kind of go down a couple of fun rabbit holes with everybody.
And the title of the podcast is again?
The Rabbit Hole Heroines.
And that's with crazy mother runner from TikTok. Yep. and yourself. Yep. I thought when you sent me the idea, I thought it was freaking fantastic, because like you said, the title and the premise of it doesn't tie you guys just to Parler or just to like you said, you can go find anything. There's plenty of craziness to go get content from. So I think that's awesome. So if you want another awesome podcast to listen to, please go subscribe. The Big Weird Moms YouTube channel is also on here, so you can subscribe to that. Jess, thank you so much for being here. And I'm sure I speak for everybody else when I say we all wish your husband a very speedy recovery, both for himself and your sanity. And and when you need me to set up the GoFundMe page for your psychiatrist bills because of Parler, let me know. We'll get that started for you. And for everybody else, I'm going to have Old Man Murphy on with me next week. So
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll end up talking about mental health, and if he brings his cocktails, it's bound to be interesting. So please tune in next week. It's going to be 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and this will be available. The audio podcast will be available for download on all of your podcast streaming services within the next day. So as always, I'll leave you with much love, keep fighting, and we'll see you next week.